The A5100 has been my go-to video camera for all the videos that I've done on my channel thus far. Unfortunately though, this camera has a terrible heat distribution, and after like about 15 minutes or as low as 5 minutes, this camera just shuts off. And you can find out what your preference is. What the f? Then I gotta wait an additional 15 to 20 minutes waiting for it to cool down before I could use it again in order to continue filming. Then when it comes to the editing side of things, you know, I got multiple tracks, multiple audio sources. I have to sync up everything together, and then don't get me started with the color grading side of things, because that's another headache altogether. So in a nutshell, what I'm saying is that it's a nightmare. So I came up with a cheap solution, and it's also non-invasive, and it should help out everybody out there that is having overheating problems with their camera, and will allow you to record for a much longer period of time before it shuts off on you. So without further ado, let's get right into it. See, the issue that these cameras have is that the thermal pads within these cameras are way too small and just not good enough to dissipate all the heat that is generated from the processing unit. And Sony, like all these other manufacturers out there, they make their cameras mainly for stills imaging. So yeah, the video production side of things, yeah, they just don't care too much about it. So initially I got this whole idea from DIY Perks, who water cooled his Canon R5 camera. But yeah, as a normal human being and someone who is not as skilled and does not have all that stuff just laying around, yeah, we're not about to do that. So I came up with a way cheaper and easier method. So what is the solution I am talking about? Well, this is basically using a Noctua NF-A4 cooler, and this is a very small cooler that Noctua created. What for? I have no idea, but fortunately they did create it, and it's so small that it fits perfectly on the back of the camera. And we are using this in conjunction with an adapter that allows you to plug it directly into the wall. And this method is literally as simple as just taking this item, putting some double-sided tape on all 4 edges. And what I did for the double-sided tape was that I took a square, cut it into 4 pieces, basically 4 different triangles, and then I fit them onto all 4 corners of the Noctua fan. And then I just took this unit, slapped it onto the back of the camera where all the heat was being generated, and that way it dissipated a lot of the heat that was coming out of the processing unit. And I did a series of tests without this method just to see how long this camera can record without overheating. And from my test, I was able to get between 5 minutes all the way up to 15 minutes. Sometimes it got a little bit over 15 and I was able to get to 20, but that was on a very rare occasion. Once I put this on the camera, I was getting close to like 30 minutes per recording session. So huge increase in recording than I was getting in the past. Now, unfortunately, this method that I came up with is mainly for people who use their camera in a stationary area. If you're a streamer and you have this thing situated like next to your setup and you're using it as your webcam, then this will be perfect because you're not moving the camera. But for those of you who vlog and like walk around with your camera, unfortunately, this method probably is not going to work for you. Now, maybe if you have like an external battery that you could plug this into, then maybe you can get it to work, but like that's a very clunky build, and it's not something I would recommend. So this whole method has really been for like those people that have stationary cameras like me right now, or those of you who live stream on Twitch and stuff like that, that just need a camera that's stationary and that doesn't overheat. And one of the reasons why I picked the Noctua fan was mainly because, one, it was like the only fan I could find that was this small, and 2, I have a Noctua fan in my system right now, actually 2 to be exact, and they run so quietly. So actually, if you put this on the back of your camera, you won't even hear it because it's just so damn quiet. Now for the double-sided tape, quick tip, I do recommend that you use the side that you have to peel off. Use that side and stick that to the Noctua fan, while the other side that like sticks onto the tape when you first peel it off, put that part onto the camera, because one side is a little bit more stickier than the other side. So yeah, put the stickier side onto the Noctua cooler, and then the non-sticky side, or not as sticky side, onto the camera itself. That way, you know, you could always take it off whenever you want to, whenever you want to close up your camera, or you just put it away, something like that. You can definitely do that. And the Noctua fan retail for like about 14 bucks, while the adapter itself retail for about like 7 bucks. So in total, it was around $20 for everything, assuming that you had double-sided tape already. And if you don't have double-sided tape, don't worry, I used a rubber band as well, and it worked just as fine because these coolers are just so small that like you could really just put a rubber band and just wrap it around and it will do the same exact thing. But I do recommend, if you have double-sided tape or if you plan on using this more often, then I do recommend you get double-sided tape, because it's definitely going to hold on and it's definitely going to be much more easier to take off and put back on. So hopefully with this method, it solved all your overheating problems that you might have, or at least reduce the overheating that you might have had with your camera. I know it certainly has for me, and I'm going to be using this method going forward, so hopefully everything works out. But if you guys have any questions whatsoever, let me know in the comment section below, because I'll love to know what you guys have to think about this, and if you guys think it's a viable solution, or if you guys use a different method, I want to know in the comment section down below. And also, if you guys have any questions, you guys can also head over to my Twitch page. I do stream every Wednesday at 8 p.m. So if you guys have any questions, or if you just want to check out some amazing gameplay from yours truly, definitely check it out. But anyways guys, my name is Matthew. Thank you so much for watching. But as always, peace out.